Hello everybody, I am BroncoJuggalo, and today is Friday the 13th.
Oh, but he's back. He's the man behind the mask, and he's out of control. He's back.
Now with it being Friday the 13th and everybody doing Friday the 13th streams, I thought that I would do a Friday the 13th video. A very special video today. Now Friday the 13th is a franchise with a rich and storied legacy. A legacy filled with amazing films, controversy, a whole lot of money, a whole lot of Jasons, and just some really awesome moments for all of us horror lovers. Now, one of the biggest parts of the Friday the 13th legacy is what it left behind, so to speak. What it passed down to horror. And what it passed down was a set of films worth living up to, a set of films worth aspiring for. So therefore, today, on Friday the 13th, I, BroncoJuggalo, am going to do a top 10 of films inspired by, cloned, and straight up ripping off Friday the 13th. This is going to be, in my opinion, the top 10 best films that have Friday the 13th to thank for their very existence. Let's kick things off with our number 10 pick. Coming in at the number 10 spot, we have Don't Go in the Woods Alone. Now, this movie is definitely a Friday the 13th ripoff, and yet it is a much bloodier film than the Friday the 13th films. Coming out in 1981, it is a straight-up copy. That being said, it's a whole lot of fun. Coming in at number 9 is a film that I know quite a few people will think should be higher up on the list, but that is The Burning. Now, this film and I have a bit of a history. I didn't see it for years and years and years, and when I finally did see it, I just didn't think it was all that great. I really thought, this is what Tom Savini decided not to do Friday the 13th Part 2 to go work on. It's basically Friday the 13th. They just straight up copied it. But after a few repeated watchings, I have gotten a bit of respect for this movie. And I do think that it owes a lot to Friday the 13th. It owes its existence Friday the 13th, but it does stand on its own. So therefore, it comes in at my number 9 spot. In at the number 8 spot is Killer Campout. Man, this movie was fun. A low-budget effort of a straight-up Jason kind of ripoff. Campers in the woods, a killer stalking them. But it was so much fun. I really did enjoy this one, even with the audio issues at the beginning. Big props to Wild Eye for making my list. Coming in the number 7 spot is Unmasked 25. A very self-aware film. This one follows a hockey-masked killer. Yep, you got that right. Where have we heard that one before? I know. Well, they do too, and they know what this film is, and they didn't shy away from it. They embraced it fully. Check out my review of this movie. And at number 7, Unmasked 25. In the number 6 spot, we have Madman. Now, everybody knows the story of Madman Mars and the story of this film. I had some issues with this film. I watched it a couple times. It is pretty entertaining. But that doesn't make it any less of a Friday the 13th ripoff. In at number 4 is an awesome film with great cover art. I mean, just look at it. Isn't that amazing? The Mutilator. Now, this film, again, knows what it is. They were very much inspired by Friday the 13th, but they also were able to stand on their own 2 feet with it. And you got to respect that. In at number 4 is another Friday the 13th ripoff, Edge of the Axe. Now, this movie may have ripped off Friday the 13th a bit, but it still is an awesome film. Introduced to me by Jason and Joe, this is a kick-ass fucking movie. Now, me calling this a copy of Friday the 13th may spark some controversy, But in the number 3 spot, we have Sleepaway Camp. Now, Sleepaway Camp is a phenomenal film that everybody knows and loves. When I say that this one is a copy, or at very least inspired by Friday the 13th, it is, of course, because of the camp setting, the kid killer with emotional issues, and a traumatic past. In the number 2 spot is a film all the way from the farms of Australia. It's Charlie's Farm. Now, Charlie's Farm is most definitely inspired by Friday the 13th film, and it even stars Kane Hodder. This one is unrelenting in its salutes to Friday the 13th, and it is amazing enough to make it all the way to my number 2 spot. This movie impressed the shit out of me when I first watched it, and it's been impressing me more and more with every subsequent rewatch. And finally, in the number 1 spot, a film that owes its entire existence, even its story, to Friday the 13th, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Now, this is a meta-style horror film where Freddy, Jason, and Michael are all real people. But I think it has more similarities to Friday the 13th than any of the others. In my opinion, this is the best movie Friday the 13th has ever inspired. Ladies and gentlemen, I definitely encourage you, if you have not already, to go and see Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. This movie is phenomenal. It's been out for almost 20 years now, which I cannot believe. Out in 2006. I mean, it's now 2023, guys. Just a few more years and it'll be 20 years old. I want to thank you all for joining me today on this Friday the 13th for this Friday the 13th Inspired by ranking. This is BroncoJuggalo saying thank you, have a great night, and peace out.
He's the man behind the mask.